Do you ever feel like there's this fire inside of you, like you were meant for more, to speak up, to shine, to create, to be seen, but the moment you get attention, you start to shrink, you blush, you freeze, you go quiet, you hide away, you run away? That, my friend, is called cognitive dissonance. And it's probably the reason you're exhausted from pretending you're fine while knowing deep down you're not living as the person that you came here to be. In the spirit of sharing what I've learned on my journey over the past 6 years since starting Blushing Phoenix and how I healed myself from erythrophobia, which is the fear of turning red in front of others and letting that completely dictate every ounce of my life, I want to share with you how cognitive dissonance, realizing what it is and how it played a crucial role in my own healing and how it might be what's driving you to heal as well. All right, I want to share this TikTok with you that explains what happens when our actions don't line up with our beliefs, which is what cognitive dissonance is, because I've heard some terminology before, but I never really looked into this and considered that this was the terminology of what was going on until a friend recently messaged me about cognitive dissonance, and I was reading this whole breakdown of what it is. And I thought, wow, that was actually a huge part of what pushed me to enough is enough and what got me to ultimately start the journey of healing through Blushing Phoenix and overcoming erythrophobia. So watch this clip and then I'm going to share some more with you.
Cognitive dissonance will be easy to remember once you hear this example. Imagine you're starving and you're faced with two options. The first one is a delicious but unhealthy pizza, and the second one is a less satisfying but healthy salad. Which one are you going to choose? If you pick the salad, despite your cravings for the pizza, you might feel a slight discomfort. And this discomfort that we feel when our actions don't align with our beliefs is an example of what experts call cognitive dissonance. Pizza isn't exactly something I believe in, though. Think of cognitive dissonance like a smoke detector in our minds. It beeps loudly when our actions and our beliefs aren't in sync. Just like a smoke detector alerts us to danger, cognitive dissonance alerts us to inconsistencies in our thoughts and actions. Imagine a friend, let's call him Joe, who is a vocal environmentalist who advocates for less plastic usage. One day, you see him drinking from a single-use plastic bottle. Joe is faced with a loud beep from his cognitive dissonance detector. His actions of using a plastic bottle didn't align with his belief of reducing plastic waste. To silence this discomfort, Joe might either stop using plastic bottles or justify his action by saying he'll recycle the bottle. So there are two primary ways we handle this discomfort, either by changing our behavior to align with our beliefs or changing our beliefs to justify our behavior. You can picture cognitive dissonance as a teeter-totter in a playground, with actions on one side and beliefs on the other. When they're not balanced, the teeter-totter is shaky. And to steady it, we have to either put more weight on the belief side by altering our behavior, or add weight to the action side by tweaking our beliefs. But keep in mind that our actions and beliefs may not always mirror each other perfectly, and that is okay. What's important is to learn to recognize this mental discomfort, this signal from our internal smoke detector as a prompt to reassess our choices and beliefs.
So good, right? So our actions don't align with our beliefs and we get this internal discomfort. For you who's listening to me right now, you have that internal discomfort. And that's why you're watching this video, because there's so much discomfort, and maybe it's because you're like, I don't want to feel this way anymore and I don't want to XYZ, whatever the case may be. But truly it is because you have a belief and a knowing that you are made for more. You want to be in a relationship. You want to create. You want to be seen. You want to go do the things. But blushing has made you shy away and want to hide because it's so uncomfortable. And those two worlds can't coexist for long. This is why I always say your body is speaking to you. That's why I believe I started flushing, was because my body was like, I can't take it anymore. And it just started flushing red to say, hey, you, attention, please do something about this. We either change our behavior or we change our beliefs. It's like a tug-of-war, and one's going to win. And I love that about this video, that he's saying, like, you, for me, and probably you too, you are shrinking back, you're hiding, you're pulling away. That doesn't align. That behavior doesn't align with your thoughts. So you either start to believe, this is who I am, I'm not meant for more, I'm actually okay just staying at home and not coming out of my house, until you get rid of that discomfort. For me, the discomfort was, I'm not doing this. I'm willing to be uncomfortable. I'm willing to do whatever I've got to do. I'm not going to shrink away. I know for me that leads to depression. I'm not hiding away. That tension is what helped me move into creating this channel, still being here today and being able to talk to you in a way that I'm like, yeah, this doesn't run my life anymore. Do I still turn red? Yes, I can still flush, but it's just not that big of a deal. 6 years ago, it was a really big deal. For me also, just in regards to what he was saying, I have sat in boardrooms. This is another example where I've sat in boardrooms with executive leaders and I don't say anything, even though I know the answer, or I have a really good idea, or I know what is the culprit of a lot of the problems that we're experiencing, but I know they don't want to hear that, and there's punishment if you actually say what you want to say. So I've sat in that room and felt that burn inside of my chest because I kept myself quiet and my beliefs and my behaviors were not aligning. Or family members who projected onto me, projected ideas and feelings and the way my life was going to be onto me. And instead of me saying something back or shooting that energy away, I just didn't want the conflict. So there was cognitive dissonance of this discomfort, this burning inside of me because I don't believe what you're saying, but my behavior of staying quiet and not defending myself or just pushing that energy off of me was creating discomfort inside of me. And you can feel that. It's like a rub or a burn, or you just feel it inside of you. It's conflict within your body. I also have just a few additional notes that this really can lead to self-sabotage, because that actions versus belief thing, it creates excuses for us to numb the feelings that create comfort, but sabotages you and your gifts. This also creates self-sabotage. A lot of people will word this as that's self-sabotage, where you know what you should do, but you can't get yourself over that line to do it because of your belief system, which is why I talk a lot about limiting beliefs, and why when we talk through coaching of overcoming erythrophobia, people think that I'm going to give them like a 3 tips course on how to overcome quickly, but really it's the root is in the belief system, and we got to get into those beliefs and get the behaviors and the beliefs to align. There is so much power there, and you have to go there. There's no way to get to it without being uncomfortable. And I love the inner smoke detector analogy, because this is what happens when who you are inside and how you're behaving outside just don't match. So you can either silence the alarm by ignoring the discomfort, or you can get curious about what that alarm is trying to tell you. And that is why I say the blushing is not a curse. It is an invitation. What is it inviting you to? Get curious about what it's trying to say to you. It's not against you. It's for you. It's just trying to talk. For people who struggle with blushing or hiding, you might know that you're meant to be seen and heard and share all your ideas, but you keep stuffing that part of you down. It is 2 beliefs that are clashing. I'm made to be visible, but I'm safer if I stay small. It's the gap between those 2 that is creating that shame and the anxiety and the constant need that you need to fix yourself or hide away. When I started Blushing Phoenix 6 years ago, I knew deep down that I was made for more, to speak and to perform and to use my voice. I was always that way when I was younger. I thought I was going to be a singer. I pursued singing and other things that put me on a stage, and I knew that that is who I am. It's how I'm wired to be. But I started shrinking and I started going quiet and I silenced myself because of the discomfort. The brain is constantly looking to get you back to a place of safety. And so the outside world reflected back to me that safety came from being small and silent, and that I wouldn't have to deal with that discomfort, especially when it comes to conflict around using my voice, which then I believe is what led me to have the blushing situation start happening to me, because the silencing and suppressing of myself started to create an external visual of flushing, because my body started getting into these constant states of fight or flight because nothing felt safe. So confused about what is safe in the environment, and the actions and behaviors that I'm taking, are they going to lead to danger or safety? Every time I've made myself feel smaller or be smaller or hide away or try to convince myself that that's just what I'm supposed to be doing, is be alone and by myself, I felt emptier because I was betraying what I knew was true inside of me. And that voice didn't go away. It just just got louder and louder and louder. And eventually that discomfort gets louder than the fear, and you have to do something about it. For me, that's when I started to really pay attention to my beliefs, not the ones I had been handed by family, school, church, and especially corporate America, but the things that actually felt true in my body. And that's when everything started to unravel for me in a good way, because I stopped silencing that alarm and I just started listening to it. How does cognitive dissonance lead to self-sabotage? When we ignore the dissonance, we start to self-sabotage, just simply put. We create excuses to numb discomfort and to make the unease go away. But the numbing keeps us from doing the things that we actually want to do, from using our gifts, pursuing the relationships we crave, and sharing our voice. It's fake comfort. It's not real. The kind that makes you feel safe for a minute, but it steals your energy long term. And here's the truth. You can't out-logic your truth. You can only live it, or you can suppress it. Cognitive dissonance isn't a bad thing. It's your body telling you you are out of alignment. It is an inner voice, an inner knowing, a feeling, a prompting, a burning, a rub. It is saying something is out of alignment here. You are trying to live in two realities at once. The one you were taught to survive in and the one that you were born to thrive in. I remember my functional neurologist in Tennessee told me, because I used to say I have this like corporate version of April and I have this like real version of April. This is when I first started flushing, and I was talking to him about like what's going on here. And we were correlating that this living two separate lives is not healthy. And I remember him saying to me, nobody can live in split realities for long before something starts to break down. Mentally, physically, emotionally, you just can't live in two separate worlds. We are whole beings and we need to function as whole beings. So if you are pretending and acting to be something that you're not, you are going to feel that cognitive dissonance as a prompting to say, hey, my friend, we need to get in alignment. If what I'm saying is hitting something inside of you, it's resonating, the tug between knowing and hiding, this is your signal, your prompting to listen to that inner voice. And this is why I say a lot, even though I offer coaching and even though I want to provide things for you to help you along the way, I cannot be your answer. There is no amount of money that you can pay me or anyone else to give you the answer that you're looking for, because you are the answer. You have the answer. You just haven't tapped into it yet. Or more so, you haven't tapped into that belief yet. It's one thing to know, it's one thing to believe. When I started this journey 6 years ago, I had some knowing, a little bit, and then along the journey, I had more knowing, but now I sit here 6 years later and tell you I have belief. And that changes everything radically. So in closing, don't silence that discomfort. Let it lead you back to the truth, to the inner knowing. And what's going to be so interesting and funny, and I can't wait to hear this from you when you message me about it, is you're going to realize it's not anything new. Who you discover internally and whose voice comes out and the expression of who you are is not going to be anything much different from who you knew as a little kid before the world came in and distorted your thinking and knowing and believing and all of this other stuff that happens when we're young. You are going to realize through the theme and thread of your life, wow, this person's always been here. This person was always with me. And you're going to release them back into this world, into your essence, and you're going to feel so much freer and lighter and proud of yourself, but it's still just going to be you. I really hope that this resonates and that it lands with you in one way or another, and that you can look more into cognitive dissonance and understand that you, my friend, are not broken. You're just a human being a human. If this video was helpful, please be sure to like it and subscribe. It helps us grow this community. I'm so excited for the voices that are speaking up here and the messages that I get from people who are healing daily from erythrophobia and the fear of turning red in front of other people. The awareness, the knowing, the support, it is going to literally change the world. This is a small sliver of the world who deal with erythrophobia, but it's still just as important to reach you and them and everyone else who's struggling with this silently. Hey, and be sure to sign up for our newsletter if you'd like to get a monthly newsletter and join our community that is growing and growing by the day. And I also have a free download for you if you haven't checked that out yet. It's in the link below. It is a digital download that will tell you everything you need to know about urethrophobia, reframing how we view urethrophobia. It's Urethrophobia 101. That's available for you for free, my gift to you. And I can't wait to talk to you again in my next video.